This Fox Business alert, the White House tonight saying talks with Iran are continuing despite violation of the memo of understanding. They have to learn, the regime does. If you FA with America, you will FO real quick. The U.S. and Iran are still in battle mode. That ceasefire, dead and donezo.
Word on the street is that the commander-in-chief got a big intel briefing in the Situation Room today as he plots his next move.
The U.S. military hitting Iran hard last night for 7 straight hours, targeting key military infrastructure and striking 2 railway bridges used to transport military weapons and supplies.
So are we looking at a round 3 soon? Well, a U.S. official telling Axios that this could last anywhere from a day or two to a week or a month, depending on the regime's behavior in the Strait.
Yeah, a day or a month. Here's how this source put it, quote, "We're going to slap them a bit so they understand we're not effing around."
The regime's escalation on commercial shipping may have ticked off other nations too, because today explosions reported in multiple Iranian cities, but U.S. officials telling Fox, wasn't us. Who or what could it be?
The U.S. military is, however, continuing to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. In the last 24 hours, ships in the double digits made that cross.
Here to discuss, the Heritage Foundation visiting fellow, retired Colonel Mike Jernigan. Colonel, great to see you tonight. Okay, so we've got word that talks continue, but of course, we've also had a lot of, let's say, hot stuff going on in and around the Strait. How do you see this playing out? Is the ceasefire completely done? Do these talks somehow resurrect? What's your perspective?
Hey, good evening. I think these talks at least are on pause. The Iranians, we gave them an opportunity. We were trying the carrot and the stick, and they kept refusing the carrot. And so now I think they're going to get the hammer and the stick. And so you saw the striking of the 90 different targets last night, the railway bridges, the railway lines, into Bandar Abbas, the port, into Chabahar, their port. You're starting to see the military campaign extend and going down the list of targets, trying to convince the Iranians, hey, stop doing this. Stop shooting ships in the Gulf, in the Straits. Stop, your aspirations for nuclear weapons. And so this is a logical extension of the military campaign is moving to the next phase. And it could indeed, it doesn't have to be, all in like it was last time. We could just continue to strike things every night or every other night or whenever we want.
I never understood in the memorandum of understanding why we would allow Iran to not only export and sell its oil, but even sell it to potentially U.S. refiners and settle those transactions in dollars. It just seemed like an easy way for Iran to raise money to pay for its malign activities and attacks on U.S. assets, Colonel. But so the big issue is, how do you stop? We've revoked that sanctions waiver. It can still, the regime, export oil, but how do we stop really that funding of terrorism, if you will? I mentioned the blockade yesterday, but General Keith Kellogg just brought up, if the Marines took Karg Island and the other islands along the coast, you wouldn't need to have a blockade interdicting or intercepting ships that are coming out of Iran.
Yeah, Dagan, those are great points. You make a very critical distinction that you don't necessarily need a ship to stop a contested waterway. If you have Marines, land-based, and perhaps on islands that have familiar names to the Iranians, with anti-ship missiles, you still can control the straits, and those ships can do other things. What we're seeing with the Tomahawk missile strikes, the same ships that are doing the blockade previously are striking missiles at night. And so all the ships can do all the missions, but all the ships can't do all the missions all at the same time. So when you start offloading some of those missions to the Marines, and you make a good point about reminding the viewers that there's still 2 Marine Expeditionary Units, about 5,000 Marines in the region, and there's still a couple thousand soldiers from the 82nd Airborne. Those soldiers can get anywhere in the country on an airplane ride, and the United States Marines literally made their reputation seizing islands.
You know, what we're seeing with some of these strikes that we're doing and targets we're hitting is that Iran is reconstituting their weapons. So we've knocked out things. They're using this negotiating time, the MOU time, to rebuild those military assets. I actually don't get that. How do they still have the capacity to do that, Colonel? And if they have it now, how hard is it for us to end their ability to rebuild the weapons they're using to attack ships in the Strait?
I think that's exactly what we're seeing with the escalation of strikes that resumed 2 days ago and last night. And I expect to see them again tonight and again for several days, because I mentioned the two ports of Bandar Abbas, right there kind of at that point, that choke point of the Straits of Hormuz. And then there's another one that's down south close to Pakistan called Chabahar. And then they have 5 ports on the Caspian Sea. So you ask how they're getting the things, is that the Russians and the Chinese are still selling them things. And they're coming through the Caspian Sea, which is deep inland and in the north of Iran. They're coming through the port close to Pakistan, which is right next to the port of Gwadar, which is owned and controlled by the People's Republic of China. So this is the next stage of the campaign that I think that we're going to see is starting to choke off all of those routes for them to get resupply and to get the things to rebuild their munitions. We have not done this before because, again, the United States is giving Iran an opportunity to say, hey, we don't have to do this, because when those ports close and are damaged and destroyed, that affects all of the everything else coming in the country needs.
I just want to update the viewers really quickly. Colonel, the Iranian state, and this is from CENTCOM, the Iranian state media has been claiming that transit through the Strait of Hormuz is only permitted through routes designated by Iran. But CENTCOM pointing out that since early May, U.S. forces have helped facilitate the successful transit of more than 800 commercial vessels and 380 million barrels of crude oil since early May. That would work out to be, if you include all of May, June, and so far in July, roughly almost 5.5 million barrels a day. Now, it's about roughly 1/3 of what would normally transit in crude through the Strait of Hormuz, but that is a hugely successful mission for the U.S.
Absolutely. Iran has been talking emptily that we control the Straits of Hormuz, says the Iranians. And they do not. The United States Navy controls the Straits of Hormuz. And as you noted, about 50 ships a day are being escorted through. That's about 2 an hour. Now, that's down from the 130 ships a day that would transit before all this conflict started. But that's the United States Navy quietly working to get honest, hardworking ship drivers out with their cargo as long as they're not connected to the Iran's economy. And so I think that is a big win that we can finally talk about this out in the open, that CENTCOM has quietly been doing other things while this has been going on. And the United States Navy is the one that's keeping the Straits of Hormuz open.
Right.
Which is what Brian wanted all along.
Music to my ears. That's Iran's leverage. If they can't impede anything there, they got nothing. Colonel Mike Jernigan, great to see you, sir. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, great to see you guys. Have a good evening.
You as well, Colonel.